On this channel, I have aired my frustrations, or let my praise be known about modern day Survivor advantages. Some are good, some are bad, and some are just downright offensive. So I ordered all these 27 advantages and twists into a tier list. Yes, I need help. But this will be modern Survivor exclusive twists from the 4.5 seasons we've seen. Apologies if I miss any of the smaller ones. F rank. Awful twists that actively harm the game, and I don't know why they got approved. If you've watched this channel, you know when it comes to the Hourglass Twist, I bash on it a lot. Pun not intended. This advantage was never told to the contestants, and took hard-fought immunity away from the winning groups at the merge, who thought they had guaranteed safety. Considering the deception from production, I have to land it here. The only 3 ways a player should leave Survivor is on a stretcher, via a vote, or a quit. Never by picking the wrong box. The do or die twist plagued 41 and 42, with a high probability that if contestants picked the skull box, they would be automatically eliminated from the game, even if they were in possession of a hidden immunity idol. Never again. Survivor 44's attempt at a swap seemed to be a much needed nostalgic twist, returning for the show. However, it was then only for it to be an awful modern adaptation of one of the best twists in Survivor history. Instead of naturally swapping the contestants, production essentially swap-screwed one contestant from each tribe, putting them onto other tribes, but first allowed them to idol someone out with a pre-merge exclusive idol that was literally just handed to them. Much like the Hourglass, the control of vote advantage in Survivor 44 wasn't told to the contestants in the game, and allowed Heidi to control one contestant's vote while being on the winning tribe and having immunity. If the lying and overpowered nature of the twist wasn't enough, this was also introduced in conjunction with the tribe split. Consequently, someone losing their vote and having it redirected on a tribe of literally only 5 people was a massive oversight by production. E rank. Mostly negative advantages I heavily disliked, but don't completely ruin games. The first is the inheritance advantage from Survivor 44. As the name states, it allows a contestant to secretly inherit every advantage at one tribal council. It does require a degree of skill or luck, depending on how pessimistic you are, but the fact one contestant can inherit advantages played before even going up to vote, like a steal a vote advantage, safety without power, knowledge is power, and so forth, and get advantages like idols afterwards, all without people knowing, seems questionable. On the topic of the knowledge is power, here it is. It has been a massive failure for the 4 times it's been put on the show. This advantage let a contestant steal a hidden immunity idol or advantage from another contestant, and if the guess was correct, there was nothing the prior advantage holder could do to stop them from stealing their item. At least unlike the inheritance advantage, it's public, and the person that plays the advantage can only get an idol or advantage maximum. Considering this twist has resulted in masses of people swapping advantages to outplay it, even the contestants seem to realise how unfair of a power it is. On the topic of unfairness, the beware advantages in Survivor 41 and 42 force contestants to lose their vote and say, let's be frank, a stupid phrase, sometimes up to 3 times in order to get an idol. Not only were the phrases so bizarre that you knew the contestants had an advantage, resulting in any privacy being ruined, but contestants were dependent on others. This meant people like Xander spent almost the entirety of the pre-merge of their season without a vote, just because nobody from Luvu found it. D rank. Advantages that I find have more negatives than positives in my opinion. What better way to start off this tier with a twist that is essentially a massive waste of time? The rice negotiation. This twist isn't despicable, but I mean, come on, who's at home getting excited about this twist? Even Survivor 44 had Jeff straight up dictating how many people needed to sit out, rather than the contestants actually negotiating with him. With its only entry, we have a twist originally from Survivor 42, the Amulet Coin. Although in Survivor 45 it returned, and a majority vote had to be achieved for this advantage, which is better. In Survivor 42, it was randomly thrust upon contestants. This advantage is extremely complex. The amulet turns from an extra vote with 3 people to a steal a vote with 2 people, and an idol for the person who is the last amulet carrier. Imagine explaining this advantage to someone with no Survivor knowledge. The fact the advantage is split in 3 and constantly changes makes it so hard to keep track of. It also encourages the contestants to blindside each other in a non-organic way. When Survivor 41 announced 3 starting tribes, I, like others, was extremely excited as we hadn't seen the twist since season 35. But then production continued with 3 starting tribes for 5 seasons, and even Survivor 46 will have 3 tribes. Honestly, I think 3 starting tribes are getting old, and due to the small numbers it makes fluid gameplay harder, as people at the top have far less incentive to flip. A topic of controversy has been the 26-day format. Now, to be fair, if production needed to make cuts, then I would rather it be the number of days than the number of staff. But 39 days does feel a lot more well-rounded, and while it's unknown how many of the negatives of Modern Survivor can be truly chalked up to the shortening of days, Jeff has revealed on podcasts the limited days made them incentivized to make the game as unbelievably hardcore as it is now. On the topic of hardcore, production making 5 contestants starving and weary move to another island where they have to start over again for the final 2 rounds of the game just seems downright cruel, and I don't know why they do it. Not to mention the Survivor 44 cast literally broke this twist by bringing all their camp items to Tribal Council. Mergatory by itself isn't awful. It does break the suspense of bringing all the contestants together just to split them into 2 tribes. I also didn't like how only the winning tribe gets the merge feast. Theoretically, a Survivor contestant now can spend 26 days in the game with only a handful of rice and beans each day. With that said, this twist isn't too dissimilar from other international twists we've seen, like the winning tribe being able to vote at the losing tribe's tribal council in the final pre-merge round of Survivor South Africa Return of the Outcasts. Last but not least is Sweat vs Savvy, but only the Survivor 41 to 44 versions, since 45 changed the format, as you'll see shortly. This twist is another one forged by Modern Survivor's ideology of trying to make the contestants struggle for everything. The problem is that both of the puzzles and challenges really don't translate to good TV because of how they're laid out. Now into the C tier, with largely non-offensive twists I'm indifferent to. They're fine. I'm talking about the final 5 Word Scramble twist, allowing contestants a challenge advantage upon completion. I think it helps a less physical player even the playing field. Plus, I mean, watching Owen turn into Sonic the Hedgehog puts a smile on my face even to this day. The game within a game was a fun gimmick that allowed superfans clues to the next episode or a dilemma upon solving a Rebus puzzle. I personally was never super invested in this element of the show, but if you were, then more power to you. The final 2 twists are ones we've basically seen, but I had to include them lest someone from Reddit complain I clickbaited them. These twists are the Bank of Vote Advantage and the Survivor 45 twist that never made the air, allowing Kendra to visit the Lulu Tribal Council. The Bank of Vote is basically the abstain to gain from 35, and we've seen other tribes visiting Tribal Council many times in Survivor US before. Kendra got to cast a vote, so there's that, but ultimately both twists could never come back again, and I quite frankly wouldn't notice. But with that, let's get into the B tier. You get to hear me be positive about Modern Survivor for once. Imagine that. These are advantages that I actually like, but have noticeable flaws that drag away from the prestige of A tier. Let's start with the most flawed in the Birdcage. I actually love this concept. Hiding keys instead of idols and having them to pull off this heist to get an idol is completely genius. Out of all the modern era idols, it's also the one with the highest chance of actually keeping the hidden immunity idol, hidden. The part where you lose me is giving every contestant a fake token idol. I feel this part makes it almost scripted, what the producers want the contestants to do, and we see repeat idol storylines on different tribes. Survivor 45's attempt at Sweat vs Savvy was a much needed upgrade to the prior 4 seasons. Instead of the tribes having to complete a tasks themselves, they now had to compete against each other in a strength related challenge, followed by a brain teaser. It has a better flow to the prior ones, and allows a juxtaposition between the 2 tribes and their thought processes. However, I could do without the 1-hour timer, which made the twist in 45 largely redundant. I would rather the contestants fight it out to see who can come in first, and get their flint, thus allowing resolution for the twist. Compared to the grandiose idols from 44 and 45, Survivor 43's idol beads seem pretty plain, but I still love it. Unlike Survivor 41 and 42's Beware idols, this one actually tests social skills and persuasion to get every contestant's most impressive looking bead. Considering the upgrade to Survivor episodes, it would be underwhelming to see such a simplistic idol twist return, but it would be great to see the social element tested with a future version of the idol. The final idol is Survivor 45's attempt. Its model is very similar to that of an escape room, where each tribe's idol has their own unique mini missions to complete. Plus, the fact we aren't seeing the same thing on each tribe makes it a lot more fun to watch. The problem I have is the fact that this idol is incredibly weak, requiring contestants to lose up to 2 votes to have a full idol. I like that the idols are a challenge to find nowadays, but the fact contestants do all that work for an idol that innately can only be used at one tribal council is a bit too overkill. This might be a hot take, but I adore the Shipwheel Dilemma from 41 and 42's journeys. It utilised the prisoner dilemma concept in game theory, forcing at least someone to miss out in a game all about power. In 42 we saw all outcomes from nobody risking, some risking, and everyone risking. Moreover, it gave us the Jenny Tribal Council. The problem is this twist was done way too many times, with the Survivor 41 contestants even breaking the twist by pre-strategizing who would risk their vote because they knew the moral dilemma would be the ship wheel. But, when used sparingly, this could be super fun. I know I'm going to get flack for putting this only in B tier, but it's the shot in the dark. Yes, the shot in the dark is a fantastic way to spice up otherwise boring boots, and we literally saw it a week ago with Caleb. I also love that the shot in the dark is a tangible die, allowing for it to be used as a token to show trust to others. However, it does have its flaws. It is firstly an inherently luck-based advantage, meaning someone like Caleb wasn't quote-unquote better than Sydney, he wasn't more skillful, he just picked the correct 1 in 6 scroll. Not to mention, as one of my commenters noted, the reason so many modern Survivor contestants use these ridiculous analogies and non-arguments at Tribal maybe, at least to some degree, because they fear if they are more open, their target will use the shot in the dark. I love the twist and the suspense it causes, but for me personally, I can't rationalise it in A tier. But on the topic of A tier, finally, good, healthy products that I think improve the game. Congratulations CBS, you never thought you would hear the day, but for this segment of the video, you have my full support. Firstly, let's get onto the Choose Your Champion advantage from Survivor 45. Personally, I love its chaotic introduction. The advantage itself allows one contestant to bet on another player during the challenge in secret, and if they win immunity, the contestant with the advantage gets immunity for that round of the game. Essentially, it tests how well a contestant knows their peers. I also like that at the challenge site, it's made public, essentially making this advantage an idle threat, resulting in the question, did someone guess the challenge winner or not? I didn't talk about camp raids before because they're not new, but something Survivor 45 newly introduced was the Goodwill Advantage. This twist allows the ambassador from another tribe to give this parchment in secret to another tribe's member during the raid, and is quite frankly genius. For the prior 4 seasons, production tried to take contestants' votes away from them, but offsetted it by throwing out extra votes and steal a vote advantages like they were Oprah. This allows them to have their cake and eat it too, as the contestant that lost their vote can regain it. Is it simple? Of course, but that's the beauty of this advantage, which essentially cleans the slate for one contestant. Who knew in a vote-based game it's fun seeing contestants actually being able to vote? But at number 1 we have another simple twist that was desperately needed. The new sit-out rules. Previously in Survivor, contestants could sit out of challenge after challenge because the rules only made contestants sit out if there were 2 challenges in one episode, which there hardly ever was. So now an underdog tribe doesn't have to go against majority tribes, picking their best to compete in every challenge. If you sat someone out of the challenge last time, they must compete this time. This video was a lot, but let me know if you agree with my rankings, or if I put a twist too high or low. Subscribe for more Survivor content, and check out this video where we talk about Survivor screwing people over some more. Nevertheless, enjoy your day. Oh, peace!